Hi, I'm Jim Gordon.
And I'm Lita Leapins.
And welcome to another edition of Our City Tonight.
Well, look who we have with us, which means we are at the 45th Annual Vancouver International Wine Festival with our good friend, Harry CHEK. And what do you got to say for yourself?
Thank you for coming to our party.
Party that is long awaited every year.
And of course, you were on an episode, kind of a sneak preview of the Wine Festival on our show back in February. You're going to talk to Lita after opening credits, but give our viewers a little teaser of what has been going on here.
Yeah.
You know, it reminds me that good food, good wine, good people brings joy to people's lives. And that's what we've really done. Yes, it's a marketing opportunity for the wineries. We've got 147 wineries from 12 countries for 18,000 people. There's a lot of joy in these people's lives.
Nice.
And life can be a little tough sometimes, but good food, good wine, good friends. And that's what this is all about, just like the two of you.
Yeah.
So it means a lot to have you guys here.
Oh, we always love being here.
Lita will talk more with Harry after you watch this.
Well, here we are at the Vancouver International Wine Festival and a long-awaited, wonderful event in Vancouver, the 45th Annual. I'm here with Harry CHEK, Executive Director of the Wine Festival for 22 years?
This is my 22nd show.
Oh my God.
I'm just barely of age.
Well, it suits you. It looks good on you, and they've all been a huge success.
Well, we try to be a little better than the year before, because you're only as good as your last show, as they say in showbiz. And it's been a great year with Italians in full force this past year, and we got a lot to look forward to. Wine is part of our culture, and as I mentioned, good wine, good food, good friends, good people. We're bringing people together, Lita.
You are, and people are very excited to be here, and I just pulled you away from a bunch of events. We're here at the tasting. People know you have a great job, but tell us a little bit about what is the build-up to, okay, we're going to say 2025. What is the build-up? What can we look at?
There's a lot of planning and organizing and logistics. There's a lot of spreadsheets and emails, and in the event business, the timeline is the supply chain. During the pandemic disruption, we heard about how supply chain were issues. And in our event business, festival business, it's the timeline.
Yeah.
And we need a full year to bring 20,000 bottles from 147 wineries from 12 countries together. And so the planning for a festival is usually about 2 to 3 years in the making. And so once we pay off all our bills and say all our thank yous, we'll be working on next year, because we have lots of different kind of events, because there's so many different ways to enjoy wine.
Yes, you're right.
And whether it's a dinner or a lunch or a party or a seminar or educational or a trade show, we have all those different kinds of events, and each of those need to be planned so that the right wines get to the right event at the right temperature, with volunteers or professionals. There's just so many factors. And one of the things that I am so happy about this past year is the number of young people and people from all walks of life, and multi-generational. I mean, one of the things that, as we've become 45 years, you know, is it just people who've been there? We have people who've been here since 1979, and have so many people who've never been before. And that means so much to me, that all people are welcome wherever they are in their wine journey.
That's wonderful. Now, how can our viewers plan for next year's festival and not miss any of these great events and make sure they get the events that they want? How can they do that?
The number one thing is to sign up for our e-news, because we provide information about wine and events, and also community events. Our website is vanwinefest.ca.
Perfect.
Doesn't get any simpler than that. And we also have all our social media handles: Van Winefest, hashtag VIWF, and sign up for e-news. And you get about a dozen news items a year, and that's when you find out when the dinners go on sale, or when the seminars go on sale. Everything doesn't go on sale all at once. We don't have enough capacity to handle. There's 18,000 people came to our festival this year, and we're going to try to reach 20,000 next year.
Speaking of next year, what is the theme for next year?
You know, you think that after 45 years, what can we do that we haven't done before. And we're going to have a theme next year that we've never had. That just seems like, how can that be? Our theme is going to be the USA.
Yay, that's wonderful.
We've had California as one of our great partners. They've been the theme region 4 times in our history, but this time we want wines from California and Oregon and Washington. And there's a lot of states that also make wine, like Riesling in New York, and Cabernet Franc on Long Island, and Viognier in Virginia, and Tempranillo in Texas, and sparkling wine in New Mexico. And this could be one of the greatest selection of North American wines anywhere. So we welcome all our Canadian friends across the country and our American friends across the border, because we need a little gathering session, because we got to get ready for World Cup 2026, right? Because North America's hosting. Maybe we can get some Mexican wineries coming up too. I know I'm thinking big here.
No,
right?
that's wonderful. Okay, so you heard it here first. Harry Herchik, Executive Director of the Vancouver International Wine Festival. Check out next year, 2025, Theme Country USA. Thanks, Harry. Always great having you on.
Thanks.
This segment is sponsored by the Richmond Sentinel, providing news, entertainment, and human interest stories in print and online.
Here at Sandbar in Creek House on Granville Island for our next interview with a guy who's been part of the media and cultural landscape for the last, well, I'm going to say 5-6 decades. He has taken photos, he's written, documented the comings and goings of this city and the people who have made it what it was and what it is. I know he's getting embarrassed by this lead-in, so we're going to go to the 3-shot. It is a great pleasure to finally get this man on our show. Malcolm Perry joins us, sir. Welcome.
Glad to be here.
Good to have you, sir. And to his right, your left, is award-winning filmmaker Kevin Eastwood. They're both here together because finally there has been a documentary made about this media icon. Yes, I'm allowed to say that. No laughing. He's British, folks. Very modest, very humble. Anyway, the new documentary, which starts airing on Knowledge Network on March 17th, is called The Society Page. Kevin is the director of that. Welcome to you both.
Thank you very much.
Malcolm, I'm going to start with you. Can you just, there's so many things to talk about, but can you talk about your first impression of this city back in the 1950s when you arrived here?
Well, right here.
Right here, you were on the Granville Bridge, which we're looking at right now.
Yeah, I arrived on a Thursday afternoon from Britain, 2 days in the air. Stayed at a place at 10th and Broad. Went downtown, filled up with lager at the St. Regis, filled up with Cantonese food at the Bamboo Terrace, staggered back over the bridge here, threw up the whole shebang right from the middle, and probably landed exactly where we're sitting now. Went home, slept like a baby, got a job the next morning by 10:30, good paying job.
Yeah.
I've been working ever since.
And you didn't start in media in this town, but through your photography work, you kind of eased into it until you were writing and even being part of the co-founding of magazines.
Yeah, right. I was a photographer. I'd studied in Britain to be a civil engineer, came here, became a photographer with BC Electric, now BC Hydro, and sort of morphed into media because of his dad.
His father gave you your first paying gig?
He did. And it was a cover for the Vancouver Life magazine. And oddly enough, it has a connection with what I do now, because it was for a story written by Alan Fotheringham, the Vancouver Sun columnist, under his pseudonym James Holt. And it was about the hoi polloi in town, the people with the money and the influence and the professions and the jobs that lived in the nice area. And although most were only second generation, at the most third, they used to be called the old money, right? Old money.
Yeah.
So that's what I did. I did the photography for that story.
Hey, Kevin, you've been sitting here. We're going to get you to answer a question now. Let's talk about this documentary. I say, not jokingly, finally, there's a documentary made about this man. As I said, I tease him, but he's a very humble man. He goes about his business. I see him at the events all these years doing what he's doing. Tell our viewers about this documentary, which I was happy to finally see hit the screen.
I mean, it's a film about Mac and, you know, his work. I think he's taken more photos of the people of Vancouver than arguably almost anyone. I mean, I think there's predecessors of great photographers in this town that we think of, whether it be Fonzie Police, the street photographer, or before that, Yucho Chow, who had his portrait studio in Chinatown. But those, that was like the beginning of the 20th century, in the middle of the 20th century, and then we have Mac. And I actually do think he is kind of the successor to kind of those legacies. He's taken photos of people in this town for 40 plus years. And I think, in the film, Douglas Copeland says, I think, no joke, Mac's probably taken over 1 million photos. And I don't think he's too far off. And I think that's an incredible kind of record of this city and the people, instead of the changing landscape of the city, he's recording the changing faces of the city.
Listen, you're a humble guy, and as I said, you come in and do your work and don't make a lot of noise about it, but you've been doing it for a very long time.
That's right.
And I am very, very happy. And Kevin, we'll give you the last word on this documentary. Were there any things that surprised you about this man here when you were putting this documentary together?
Well, I mean, I grew up in Vancouver, so I had seen Vancouver magazine. I grew up with the Vancouver magazine landing on our doorstep, and so I'd always been aware of its influence and the Vancouver Sun, but I didn't necessarily know back then that it was Malcolm Perry behind Vancouver magazine. And he really has, what was surprising making the film was how many people reached out when we were making it who said, hey, I owe my career to Mac, or Mac was hugely influential in my start. And this was a whole bunch of different people's careers, whether they be artists, writers, business people, and they wanted to pay their respects and speak about him on camera. And so I hadn't appreciated just how influential he had been in kind of the big break for a lot of different people's careers.
Can I add something?
Sure you can. It's your segment.
It's I just thought about that when you were talking about, photographing various people and various activities. And I thought of an analogy, which is when I was a teenager and had my own band and was playing in other bands and everything. You would play some rock and roll, you'd play some jazz, you would play some ballroom dancing.
Yeah.
Quick steps, foxtrots, waltz, sambas and everything to various people. And there'd quite often be somebody in the crowd didn't look like they're having a good time. And you play a polka. Somebody say, can we play a polka? And out they come off their chairs and whirl around the floor, and had a good time.
Yeah.
And I think that infected my feeling about what I do in the broader sense, and that is, you've always got to play a polka. And that's really what it is. It's just a big mix.
It's a good analogy.
There you
Always
go.
got to play a polka. Malcolm Perry, Kevin Eastwood, and I'll let him have the last word with that. Always got to play a polka. Thanks to Sandbar as well here at Creek House.
This segment was sponsored by the Richmond Sentinel, providing news, entertainment, and human interest stories in print and online.
Well, we hope you're enjoying this edition of Our City Tonight. Well, we'd always like to pass on birthday wishes to loved ones in our lives. Our show's a bit of a family here, and Lita, you've got somebody very important that you want to say hello to and happy birthday wish to.
Very important. My mother, who is my hero, she is turning 81 this month. And big shout out, happy birthday, Mom. You're seeing some pictures of her as a young woman, recent pictures, as well as when she was participating very seriously in athletics. She was a middle distance runner and broke many, many Canadian records, which she still holds.
And we should mention BC Hall of Fame. She's been nominated. What's going on with her? Can we move that along a little faster, get her in?
For that, I'm hoping that goes through because she's done a lot. I love Googling her, and she's always surprised too that a lot of these records still hold.
I've known you for a very long time, and to this day I still call her Lita's mom. So happy birthday to Lita's mom. Okay.
Happy birthday, Mom.
Back to Our City Tonight. This wine moment is brought to you by Ethica Wines. Italian roots, global reach. Well, always great to interview people from Italy about their wine, Lita, because the wineries are very old and legendary, and that is the case. As we go to the three-shot right here, we're joined by Arbor Shabani, who is part of the sales team at Rodolfi.
Exactly. I'm a director of sales and marketing.
Thank you for joining us here in Vancouver, and welcome.
Thank you very much for having us.
Yeah.
Ridolfi is one of the most oldest estate that we have in Italy.
Wonderful.
When we say one of the oldest, what are you talking about time-wise, like century-wise?
Exactly, century-wise. Ridolfi, it's a very old estate. The family, it's originally from Florence, and then in late 1200, beginning of 1300, they came down to Siena, so south part of Tuscany. So this is what we are talking today.
Kind of old, excellent.
Is now, where is Montalcino, Tuscany, and Ridolfi?
Yeah. Montalcino is in the south part of Tuscany, so it's south of Florence and Siena. Close to the seaside, so we are talking about 30 kilometers from the seaside. It's the area where we grow one of the best Sangiovese grapes in Italy. It's the highlight of the Sangiovese in all Italy.
So that's what must make it so special.
Yeah.
that
It is,
particular-
and it's something unique. So we produce a wine that is unique. It's elegant wine, very classic, very traditional way, but the vision is to produce one of the most elegant and finest wine.
And talk about, you were talking about centuries of keeping the passion for the wine. Are you and the team, the family, always looking for different varieties? Are you looking to bring people in to drink certain wines that may not have had that type of wine before?
Well, we are known for centuries for the Sangiovese.
Yeah.
So this is our mission, to make one of the most important and in very classic and traditional. So now the work is making these wines as one of the most important wines. So what we are doing is making a very classic and traditional wine and keeping the people and getting a bit more interesting in what we do.
Your winemaker, he's an all-star winemaker, and he's very well known. Can you tell us a little bit about him?
Yeah, our winemaker is Gianni Macari, that has been worked with the best wineries in Montalcino. From 2014, is our winemaker and director.
Wow.
And it's one of the most, as I said, was the most talented guys that we have in Montalcino.
Talk about the experience of if you're in Italy
Yep.
and getting to go to the Ridolfi winery. Talk about that experience, because it looks pretty spectacular.
It's something unique. We are in the middle of Tuscany, so you came south from Siena. It's about 40 minutes, and you have this hills, the Val d'Orcia hills, and something spectacular. Hills, grapes, forests, so it's something unbelievable. So the nature is wonderful.
This is not something we want to miss when we're in Tuscany.
Please, you are always welcome to visit us. It's a family-owned, and the atmosphere that we breathe over there, it's family, it's Tuscany, it's Italy.
Oh, wonderful.
And now we have another member joining us who's been on our show a number of times, Andrea Vescovi from Ethica Wines. We should say that for people that didn't make it to this year's wine festival, talk about the beautiful Ridolfi wines and how your company comes in to make sure our viewers can sample here in Vancouver and across the country.
So we're really lucky to work with such a great winery and such great people from Italy. Of course, we're distributed by Select Wines across Canada. You can find some of these wines at Everything Wine and some local retailers. So Montalcino, the wine festival, it's been fantastic. I mean, there's nothing better in Vancouver at this time of year, just drinking Italian wines, having a producer, a principal in the market, and Vancouverites have just been really gravitating towards Sangiovese and this style of wine, right? They're not overly done, the alcohol levels are in check, and I think that's what consumers are looking for.
Nice. Can we just quickly ask for our viewers maybe a food pairing?
Yeah, today we present Rosso and Brunello di Montalcino. So the Rosso goes very good with our antipasti, with pasta with ragu, for example, also. And then for Brunello, of course, the steaks are crazy, but I will give you one advice. A lovely pairing is with aged cheese. Staying internally in Tuscany, I will go, so Brunello di Montalcino with Pecorino di Pienza, 24 age.
Okay.
But go a little bit outside of Tuscany, the Brunello paired with 48 Parmigiano Reggiano will be very, very good.
We can do that.
You can
And
do
we're going to each try. So, Oh, I can taste cheese with that.
You guys look the other way while I steal this wine, please.
Thank you
Thank you both,
both.
guys.
Thank you very much for
Cheers.
having us. Thanks.
This Ridolfi Wine Moment was brought to you by Ethica Wines. Italian roots, global reach. Sponsorship and other promotional considerations provided by Bosa Foods, authentic Italian, with 2 locations to serve you better. More information, go to bosafoods.com. Here at the Italian Cultural Center in East Vancouver, if you're a regular viewer of the show, a familiar face is joining us right now from the Italian Chamber of Commerce Canada West, Alex Martiniak. And I got to say, last time you were on the show was literally a year ago at that wonderful Taste of Italy event, which we all enjoyed some great food and some great wine. Of course, every time we work with the Italians, there's always great food involved, and that is the case here today. I mentioned earlier in the show about it's Eat and Think Pink. Explain what that campaign is all about for our viewers.
Yes, so it's a campaign that is financed by the European Union, and it's campaign to raise awareness and educate Canadian consumers about European pork products. The European pork is very often, and in this case, is certified for quality, for traceability, and it's prepared according to traditional recipes very often. All traditional recipes which we can enjoy now in Canada thanks to CETA agreement, which obviously has been signed between European Union and Canada a few years ago, 6 years ago.
How big of a deal was that agreement
was,
compared to in how it applies to what you guys do and your partners in Europe?
Yeah, that was really big, very important for Canada and European Union, because we can, and I can testify to that, we see many more products here. We also have requests from Canadian companies to go to European market, and they participate in various shows. So the trade really has increased significantly, and also thanks to that CETA agreement, it was also that agreement facilitated the approval of various certification processes, which thanks to that we have now this pre-cooked meal already prepared in Italy, certified for the distribution in Canada.
Well, now I'm joined by Francesca Navarro. Did I get that last name right?
Yes.
Excellent. Okay, all the way from Italy. She's the export manager. Francesca, explain to our viewers, you are part of something called OPAS, O-P-A-S. Explain to our viewers what that means and what you're all about.
Okay, so OPAS is literally stands for Organization of Product of Swine Breeders. We are a co-op of breeders of pigs. We are in Emilia-Romagna region, and we have 75 farmers that belong to us. I represent OPAS together with the Eat Pink, which is our line of product for the final customers.
And Francesca, explain to us, because I said to Alex, the theme is Eat and Think Pink. Explain what the pink means in terms of your products.
Okay, so what's behind Pink? We have done several researches on how to promote and enhance the meat of our pig farmers. And pink is the color of the meat, actually, and it has both the positive aspect of the white meat of poultry and the red meat of beef. It is not only this. We wanted to create a sort of movement because when you think about pink, you think about positivity. So behind the Eat Pink line, we want to promote a style of eating pork meat that is healthy, nutritious, with low fat, few ingredients in the ingredient list.
Yeah.
And quick and easy to prepare. So it's a combination of philosophy behind the meat and the characteristic of the meat.
Well, this story or segment hasn't ended quite yet. We're going to go from the Italian Cultural Center downtown to the Vancouver International Wine Festival at the Convention Center.
Yes, I am here at the Vancouver Convention Centre at Vancouver International Wine Festival, and I'm joined by Francesca. Welcome again.
Thank you.
We're going to talk about pairing that wonderful pork and what your choices are to pair.
This is Lambrusco metodo ancestrale. Lambrusco is a typical variety of Emilia-Romagna, and we are from Emilia-Romagna, so traditionally, pork meat pairs with Lambrusco. So this matches also the color of our meat, because you have pink Lambrusco with Eat Pink product.
Perfect.
There you have loin with herbs, and you can take a little piece and after a sip of Lambrusco, and you will see how the flavors matches in your mouth.
That is already so amazing.
Thank you. And next to the loin, you have the spare ribs. So after you have cleaned your mouth with the bubbles of Lambrusco, you are ready to try another piece of pork meat.
That is incredible. And I know I've traveled through Emilia-Romagna, and that's where I really got to taste so many Lambruscos, and I really hadn't had experience before, but I am in love with them. This is a really good one in particular and pairs perfectly with this pork.
Yes.
Francesca, thank you so much for introducing us to this. I know this is the Eat and Think Pink Canada campaign.
Yes.
I want to thank also the Italian Chamber of Commerce. They always introduce us to the best people, and we had so much fun doing this today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Back here where we began the show at the Vancouver International Wine Festival. Leader, I still call this the new convention center, but that's what it is.
It is. It's beautiful, and it's great to be back here. You can see behind us, it's getting louder, as well as people are departing very resistantly because it's the end of the tasting room day.
That's right. Thanks to all the wonderful folks who helped us. Harry CHEK, of course, the
Yes, our
executive
good friend.
director.
And Meredith, of course. Thanks, Meredith. Cheers for always keeping us organized while we're here.
Over the next couple months, as we always do each year, you'll see a number of wine interviews that we did here. They'll be airing right into late spring. I'm Jim Gordon.
I'm Lita Leapens.
And if you have been, thank you for watching. Don't forget to check out past episodes and individual interviews, all on the Our City Tonight YouTube channel.
The Richmond Sentinel, providing news, entertainment, and human interest stories in print and online.
While in Whistler, Our City Tonight stayed at the Blackcomb Lodge, serving guests in the heart of the village since 1980.